Yeah. Did it?
I'm
What are you
not
doing?
20.
What do you want?
Fortean Slip is live.
We are?
Yep.
I'm just, playing with pussy here.
Steve, I will pay
Really?
you any amount of money to stop
Fucking
making
really?
that joke.
My cat, Steve, my cat is on the desk. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, you dickhead. Oh, some days. Some days.
But Richard said we weren't starting until 9:45.
I'm
Does Richard run the show?
No.
E-
Richard's rarely even
exactly.
on the show.
Exactly.
Richard would be on this show
does
more
not run the show. I run the show, Steve. That's
if
the
certain
way
other
it
co-hosts
is.
didn't insist on recording so late.
Which co-host is that?
Steve. I'm going to post
I
this in
don't
the
insist
Squatters
on it.
Lounge.
Chris asked me earlier, and I said anytime, and he's the one who came up with the time, not me.
I did?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. If you say so, man.
Okay, Steve, nothing is happening in the chat room.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Because you
update,
told
Richard.
everybody 10:40 or 9:45, and it's not 9:45 yet. That's why. It's your fault.
Did you advertise the show, Steve?
I don't need to.
Yeah, Steve, wait a minute. Did you advertise the show?
I did not.
Right. Do you ever advertise the show?
I have. About once, like 4 years ago.
Let's put a percentage to it, Steve. If you were to give, a rough percentage, of how much you've given to promoting the show that you've been on for 148 episodes now, what percentage would you say it is?
148 episodes divided by about 1%, I'd say.
About 1%.
Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Probably a little less.
I'd say a little less. I'd go a little less.
I used to post it all over the place, and then nobody ever, watched, so I gave up.
Oh.
Nobody ever came
that's
out to my links.
It's a good reason to just give up.
Nobody likes me, so I don't.
Nobody
I don't
likes
have
you.
that.
What,
No.
fucking everybody hates you? Are you gonna go eat some fucking worms?
I'll do that. I thought about that. They're high in protein.
Uh-huh. So, this is episode 148 of the Fortean Slip. Welcome to the shit show that is our podcast. Tonight, we have special guest from the great state of Ohio. The wonderful, the talented, the knowledgeable, the all-knowing, amazing Steve.
That's me.
And we will be taking your questions from the chat room for the great, amazing Steve, or the amazing Steve, or the douchebag Steve.
I'm not prepared for this.
Steve.
Are we going to even get any questions?
I need you to be on point. I don't know how many times I can tell you this.
All right, I'm on point.
It's
we're actually going to do a question and answer show?
No questions yet, but I'm monitoring.
We don't have any questions yet. We're working on it, Steve. You need to.
Well, we probably should have advertised that, but then I would have saw it, and then it wouldn't have been as fun.
Exactly, Steve. How am I supposed to blindside you and fuck you over
Because
if you know it's coming?
It'd be like the worst
Hey.
practical joke in history. Hey, sit on this seat. I'll
Hey,
put a
by
whooping
the
cushion
way,
on it.
I'm gonna kick you in the balls.
okay, I'm waiting. I'm ready. Let's go. Ask me a question.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the people in the chat room to.
Do we have
put
people in the
forth
chat
their
room? I'm not
questions.
allowed to
There
look
are-
at the chat. I've
There
been
are
told.
people in the chat room, Steve.
I'm
There are
up
like
for anything.
5 questions. 5 people, I mean.
Oh
6.
boy. Oh, I'm up for anything. So I don't care what the question is. I'll answer it honestly and completely and to the best of my knowledge.
You're
Anything.
the best, Steve. You said that we should interact with the chat room more. I'd like you to know
This is the kind of show I've always wanted to do.
We're going on like 5 minutes, no interaction with the chat room.
There's like 6 people watching and
Right.
there's not a single question.
They're not asking you a fucking thing.
It's like
I
It's
told
like-
I told you like 2 minutes ago that nobody likes me, and so that's why I don't promote the show, because if I do, then nobody would watch. So it's the way it is.
Hey, you told me I
And
needed
this
to
is
go
proof.
in this direction, Steve. So I decided to open it up to
Any
the
question.
fans to let them ask the questions that they would like to ask of the amazing Steve.
You just
You're going a little farther.
literally
Any question is fine. You can ask Steve about his questionable sexuality. You can ask
You can.
Steve
You're
about
not going to get a good answer.
His desire to sell junk to people and possibly have a quasi homosexual relationship with a man that he drives around in a van with and picks up junk alongside of the road. I mean, whatever you'd like to ask of him.
I don't do that.
What
So-
caused the bad blood with the Squatchers Lounge podcast?
Yes. Wait, Richard, I'm directing this. God damn it! You
Sorry,
fucking go stoke your fire in your castle.
Wait, if you do it, you got to do it correctly, and you got to say who asked the question.
Right. That's exactly. I'm getting to that, Steve.
Well, you didn't. It was up there for
Damn
like
it.
a whole minute, and you hadn't even.
All right. So the question comes from Katie Evans, and it's KT. I don't know if it's Katie, but it's KT Evans. And I saw earlier that she says she's from Indiana, Steve.
Indiana. I've been to
Yes.
Indiana.
And the question from her is, what caused the bad blood with the Squatchers Lounge podcast? I somehow missed most of that.
So
Steve, take it away.
okay, what caused the bad blood between us and this whole show, or just me? I don't have any bad blood with the Squatchers Lodge podcast anymore. Jeff and I have kind of talked it over. Now I don't listen to the show anymore, but that's because I don't listen to any Bigfoot related shows. But what caused it? It was all that Justin Smith and Rick Dyer shit. They were going to do a show together or some bullshit, and Jeff and the podcast, maybe not Jeff particularly, but the podcast was kind of behind that. And prior to that, anybody who talked about or to Rick Dyer, was kind of blasted by those guys. So, but anyway, Jeff and I are cool now. We talk on occasion. Now,
Steve,
Chris's deal, I don't know.
You're forgetting the biggest portion of this.
No, this is my show, Chris.
No,
this is
no.
question answer for me.
No. I'm fucking.
I'm going to make it sound
producing
politically
and
correct
directing.
and shit.
Listen, I'm producing and directing this bitch, so you just take it like a good little boy.
But anyway, that was my
problem-
bad blood
The
with that
problem
show.
that I had
Yours is different.
with the Squatchers Lounge podcast was that they had set up a paid Bigfoot outing. And I expressed my distaste for it that I didn't like it. I don't like the idea of those things. I would much rather people just go out in the woods and look if they're going to do that sort of thing, not pay to go for something that is just going to be a bunch of people hanging out in the woods. And then when they had come back from it, they had claimed, or a good portion of them had claimed, that they had had a sighting up there and that they had, cast tracks. They did no such thing. They didn't cast the tracks. They didn't have anything to cast with. So it was, to me, it was not only distasteful, but it was dishonest. So I had told them that I was going to, stop cross promoting the shows. I didn't want anything to do with it, but that I would still remain friends with them. One of the hosts had no problem with that. The other did not.
Now,
or did have a problem with that.
Now, Dean is a big part of the Squatchers Lounge. Is he still on the podcast? Does he do that? Dean Cooper?
I have no idea.
Yeah, he still does his quasi.
Anyway, so and we're still good friends with Dean. I still talk to Jeff on occasion. What Chris's deal and my deal were two separate things, and I think that guy kind of got confused. I was mad, particularly at some statements that Jeff had made. We've talked about that since, and your deal was the Bigfoot expedition. So that was that, and it's ancient history now. So whatever.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. So, all right, our next question, Steve, for the amazing Steve, and ladies and gentlemen who are joining us tonight, we have given the floor over to Steve Alcorn, the amazing Steve, as we call him. And no question is outside the realm of possibility. You can ask Steve about his bathroom habits. You can ask Steve for Nostradamus predictions, or Nostradamus-like predictions, whatever you wish. But our next question, Steve, comes from, I believe, Canada. From
Canada.
Buck Nye. I believe he's in Canada.
The Bigfoot guy?
The Bigfoot guy.
All right.
And the guy with the beard. That guy.
Buck Nye, the Sasquatch guy.
Got it.
The guy that if I was like gonna go out and take on a posse, I'd like stand behind him.
That's good. That's a good idea.
His question, Steve, is: will that big snake show up in Maine again this year? Did he make it?
No. Ooh, wait. I just got an offer for. Ooh, yeah, nice. Okay. Anyway, that was my eBay app. The big snake. You mean Wessie? I think our friend.
Yes.
I think our friend Bill up there in Maine has a lot to do with whether or not that snake comes back.
Your fucking friend.
Snakes don't do well in winter, so I'm going to guess that the snake is probably non-existent anymore. But maybe if he found a place to hole up, like in somebody's basement, and stayed warm all winter, he could come back. But I'm going to say no. I think it was just a big gimmick for the town there for a while. That's all.
Okay, Steve.
And for some researchers.
Next question for you, from J. Adam Edwards, longtime listener to the Fortean Slip.
Did you ever notice that all serial killers and like people who kill people have 3 names? Anyway, go on.
Ted Bundy. Jeffrey Dahmer.
Most. Okay,
John
most.
Christie.
Buffalo Bill.
John Wayne Gacy. Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on.
That's 2 people.
Steve?
All right, get on with the questions.
Big fat person. All right. Your question from Mr. J. Adam Edwards. What flavor vape juice is Steve using?
Root beer. Homemade. I make it myself.
Root beer.
I tried some bubble gum the other day. flavored, and it was
Oh, no.
vile.
That sounds amazing.
I do on occasion. I switch between blueberry and root beer, but I do make them all myself. So
That sounds fantabulous. The next question, Steve, comes
I did that on
from
purpose.
Don Booch.
Ah, yes.
And his question is it true that Bigfoot can heal my balls?
According to some, Bigfoot likes balls and tends to touch people there. I don't know. Why don't you go to the lube groups and ask them there? I don't know.
Steve, will Bigfoot fondle Don's balls?
That's part of the healing process.
Loving fashion?
It's part of the healing process. Yes, your balls will be fondled by Bigfoot.
Will there be lotion involved?
No, Bigfoot does it dry.
Okay, I was just curious. I was kind of stretching that question out for Don.
I mean, it's kind of hard to find lotion out in the wilderness.
All right. Steve, your next question comes from Investigating Sasquatch.
No, it doesn't.
What?
Does Sasquatch eat psychedelic mushrooms and trip out in the woods?
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Why the fuck wouldn't he? I mean, they're there, right?
Hey, yeah.
Well, it depends on who you listen to. Bigfoot is flesh and blood. Well, as a flesh and blood being, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
I would not.
Yeah, I've tried to convince you to take a mushroom trip with me, Steve, but you're adamant.
Bigfoot. Well, are we speaking? See, it sounds like it's only one Bigfoot. Big feet. There's a lot of different kind of Bigfoots. So some of them would be more like me and probably stay away from the mushrooms, and then some of them would be like you and like be all into that shit. So,
Are you saying there's
Just
like
saying.
stoner Bigfoot?
yeah. Why
I
wouldn't
don't
there
want to
be?
live in a world where there aren't stoner Bigfoot.
Does stoner Bigfoot have to go to his like stoner dealer Bigfoot friend and hang out for an uncomfortable amount of time just to pick up a bag of weed?
Damn straight he does.
Probably.
And he has to make annoying small talk and pretend he cares about that Bigfoot's pets.
All right. Anyway, the next question, Steve, comes from Gabby.
Gabby. Okay.
I've never asked her how to pronounce her last name, so I'm not even going to try. And the question is, did you sell that sweet Pac-Man hoodie?
Not yet. It is listed. It's listed at $59.99. It's a 3X. It's huge, but a little bit too big for me, or I'd keep that son of a bitch. But no, I haven't sold it yet.
That was one of the good things about
Steve,
that movie.
I have to break away from the questions being directed at you for one moment. I apologize for this. I know that your time is precious.
I know you
here
shouldn't.
on the program.
So let's go.
Yeah. This question is directed at me, Steve. And the question is indica or sativa? And it comes from Will L. And the
I'm
answer
glad
to
that question wasn't directed at me because I have no fucking clue what any of that means.
The answer, Will, is sativa. Thank you. Back to you, Steve.
I've put stevia in my coffee.
The amazing Steve, I'm sorry. And I do stress that you can ask any question of Steve. Does he have three nipples? Does he have a rubber cock that he shoves in his asshole? These questions need to be answered. Tonight, they will be. Your next question, Steve.
What the hell?
Yeah,
what the hell
are
is
you
going
going through
on,
a fucking
Richard?
wind tunnel, Richard?
No, sorry, I was pulling a blanket.
Oh,
What are you in fucking bed?
Don't let me interrupt your nap.
I am in bed, yes.
Anyway,
Quality show here, ladies and gentlemen.
your next question, Steve, comes from Don Booch. Again.
Can I just take a moment to say
he's an overachiever.
Okay.
What, Richard? What can I do for you, bud?
that Chris said that you could ask could Steve have a rubber dick up his asshole, and it's me pulling a blanket that brings down the quality of the show.
The production quality, Richard. The production quality. Thank you. On with the show. The question from Don Booch, Steve. Legend has it that Richard Allen is actually David Icke. Can you confirm or deny this?
Isn't that Icky?
Icky,
Isn't that how you pronounce it?
I don't fucking know. Ick. I don't fucking know. Whatever his name is.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Wow. What are you trying to say, Steve?
That I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Mm-hmm. I see. All right, you're.
You see, that's the way of answering a question without answering a question.
Yeah, let's
because
move on
if I gave you that information,
Steve, this is a question that could have some serious implications. So I think we should. Move along so that we don't have any more problems.
Remain silent.
Let's just say. Yes. Your next question comes from KT Evans again.
He probably fell asleep.
Have you tried the bacon-flavored Spam?
No, I am a traditionalist. I prefer, in fact, I've never tried anything other than traditional, regular, meat in a can Spam. Or fake meat in a can, or whatever the fuck it is.
In a can.
I wouldn't mind. I might try the bacon flavored if I could find it. We only have the regular Spam here. Maybe I have to go somewhere else to find that, or order it online or something. Why don't you? I can give you my address after the show, and you can send me a can. How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm just trying to get free Spam.
I don't know if Don Booch has a follow-up question, but he does say, "What are you hiding?" And
what is who hiding?
My answer to that for you, Don, is his sexuality in a closet.
I think he's referring to what are we hiding in regards to his previous question about who Richard really is.
Richard is a conundrum.
How is that, Big Ben?
That's right. Listen, that's to commemorate my British friend who may or may not be a secret agent / double agent / we don't really know who he is.
If we told
We've
you
never
the truth,
seen him.
If we told you the truth about Richard, this show would probably have to end, and you guys would never be able to see us again. So no more questioning. No more questioning along those lines, please.
I don't know who Richard is. Is he Richard Allen? I don't know. He could be.
Some say
he comes from a medieval world. Nobody has to. Some doesn't have to say that. It just is. He's far more prepared for the fantastical than any of us could ever be. He hunts with ferrets, for Christ's sake, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
I've never seen his face, to be honest with you. I mean, live. I've seen pictures, but
he coos and baby talks to a fucking ferret, or he doesn't. I don't know. I can't answer these questions for you. All I know is I hear a fucking voice with no body coming from supposedly the United Kingdom.
I always thought that accent was a little fake.
Could be. Very well could be. Anywho, Steve, sorry, the amazing Steve. Let us continue. From J. Adam Edwards again. Any tattoos, fellas?
Fellas, that's all of us.
Steve, this is for you to answer.
I have none. Zero. Zilch nada. I thought about getting a Taz when I was like 18. Getting a big old Tasmanian Devil tattoo, but I never did. So I have decided in my life not to poke needles into myself unnecessarily or have somebody else do it. Just me.
Okay, the amazing Steve again joining us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, for any of you joining us, we've opened it up. You can ask Steve any question. We have no boundaries on this. He can answer any of your questions, be it about the past, the future, somewhere else on the planet at the present. The amazing
I'm pretty
Steve.
good I should have put on my Kreskin hat,
You
like
should've.
Johnny Carson.
Because
If you would have told me.
things, that doesn't mean I can help you. All I can do, Steve,
have a
is
Kreskin
direct and produce this segment, this episode, to facilitate these questions being directed at you.
All right, more. Let's go.
Okay. Another question from Gabby. How much do vegetarians annoy the shit out of you?
They don't annoy the shit out of me at all. My brother is a vegetarian.
They annoy the shit out of me.
I know, like rabid vegetarians, people who try to push the lifestyle on you. Yeah, those people annoy me.
Is that scene in Pulp Fiction where he's like, my girlfriend's a vegetarian. Pretty much makes me a vegetarian. But I do like a tasty burger.
I don't get that reference. I have seen parts of that movie, but I fell asleep.
Steve.
Say what again?
I fell asleep.
Fuck off. Have you never seen Pulp Fiction? Everyone's seen Pulp Fiction.
I said I started watching it and I fell asleep.
Do you remember who you're talking to?
Even he's got kids. One of them would have made him watch it.
No, my kids aren't into that shit.
Oh, what?
I watch Kojak every night, for God's sake. I mean, that's the extent of my
loves you, baby
knowledge. I like Kojak. Kojak's pretty cool.
Now,
getting back to the vegetarian question, my wife makes a killer vegetarian pizza. We've had that a couple times with our new diet, and my God, that shit's good. So,
no more Columbo, Steve.
No, I believe we watched them all, and it's not on Netflix or Hulu anymore. So, and they took off Murder, She Wrote, fuckers.
Those rat
we weren't finished.
Bastards.
I like Murder.
But
how are you and Angela Lansbury supposed to solve all the crimes of the world and then write about them?
I did sell that Murder, She Wrote shirt for $25 though. So, and I sold a Ren and Stimpy not a Ren and Stimpy, a Pinky in the Brain for $30 the other day. T-shirt.
How can you confuse those?
I'm not into that shit. I kind of, I don't know. But to get back to the question, vegetarians do not annoy me unless they are like all, like Prius drivers, those kind of people. Yeah, unless they're like that.
I recently found out that the nickel in a Prius battery is mined in China, and it's actually a shitload worse for the environment.
Of course it is.
Driving a normal car, and that just made me giggle for like 3 hours.
That's right. As it should. Okay, back to questions for the amazing Steve. Steve, this question comes from Buck Nye, the Sasquatch guy.
I think he ripped that off. There was another something that rhymed like that.
Does Steve think there may still be Neanderthals in Russia? Is any of the proof any good?
Well, all the proof comes from Igor Burtsev and his gang, his crew, and No.
You gonna go
No.
with a big no on that one, Steve?
Just flat
Well,
no.
The thing is, they, what was the name of the woman that they had the DNA test? She had passed, but they did her ancestors and all that shit. And they thought that she might be. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I'm sure Bigfoot guy Buck Nye remembers. Anyway, it turned. She wasn't a Neanderthal. We all have Neanderthal blood in us, and that's the extent of it. I think it's all a big ploy, not a ploy. I don't know what you call it. Kind of like the same with us. Everything's a Bigfoot over here. Well, for
your
that
great
crew of
great
people, that's the same thing.
great great grandmother fucked a Neanderthal,
And she probably did.
and then she had little Neanderthal children.
I'm not a big fan of the proponents of that theory, so therefore I can't be a fan of the theory. Let's put it that way.
I see. Tonight is questions for the amazing Steve. Direct your questions in the chat room, please, and I will direct them to the amazing Steve. No question is outside the realm of possibility tonight. We will allow any questions. They will be read aloud on air.
So far,
for the
it's
amazing
too easy.
Steve.
So.
That's right. I mean, it has to be good. It's all good. Your next question, Steve, comes from Jeremy Harrison.
Who's that? Never heard of him.
I'm just giving you the fucking name, Steve. What would you like me to do?
All right. On with it.
Steve, are you as high as me now?
Apparently, Jeremy Harrison hasn't listened to any of our shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get high. I get accused of it a lot. Do I come across that way?
You do get accused of it a lot. So maybe you do.
I don't know. Maybe people just can't believe maybe people just can't believe the awesomeness comes without a little help.
Okay, Steve, questions for the amazing Steve. As I've been saying all evening, if you're in the chat room, please direct your questions in the chat room to the amazing Steve. No question will be turned down. Your next question, Steve, comes from Gabby again. What do you think happened at the Dyatlov Pass?
People died.
Boom.
Way to bring the facts, Steve.
That's the only facts we have. The rest is speculation. I mean, there's been so many theories about. There's been so many theories about what's happened there, but it was just a bad accident, or bad circumstances. Let's put it that way. People died,
Right.
and there's no mystery to it. I don't think, as far as what happened. The only mystery is we don't know exactly what happened, but people froze to death. I mean, it happens. They got lost or not lost, but
did you just really
got
say
caught in a bad situation?
There's no mystery here. The only mystery is we don't know what happened. You just really say that.
The mystery, but you know what I mean. There's no conspiracy. There's no Bigfoots involved. No UFOs. No government experiment gone wrong. People got into a bad situation and they died. That was it.
Well, that's we think that all up.
That's why I said there's no mystery.
And then immediately said the only mystery is we don't know what happened. That's my issue with the statement.
It's a fucking mystery, you dumbass.
It's an unmystery mystery.
Oh,
it's not a mystery. It's an enigma.
Anywho.
Oh, Steve, God love you.
Continuing on with our questions for the amazing Steve tonight on the Fortean Slip. This comes from Dean Cooper, Steve. Not Dean Cooper, Steve. It comes from Dean Cooper. comma. I'm saying your name, Steve. I didn't want you to get confused there. Think that Dean Cooper had taken your first name as his surname.
Why would he do that?
That would be kind of fucking weird. But his question is, Steve, if you screw an Alma, are you an alma mater?
I don't know what that means, but it's funny. An Alma is what they call Bigfoot, I think, over in Russia or the Ukraine or something, right?
Is it funny? Is it really funny?
I don't know if it's funny. It just sounded funny.
Oh, dear Jesus.
I should have put a fan on. It's getting hot in here. Maybe it's because I'm on the hot seat.
On a weekly basis.
This is him on
Good question.
Well,
See, and I opened it up, Richard. I want to note that I opened it up so that Dean could put out that piece of shit joke.
I know. I had to bite my tongue. Did you see his other one?
I don't think it was bad. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, of course you thought it was real good, you fucking miserable piece of shit.
Dean, it's okay. It's okay. Some people
Dean,
just
it's
don't
not
get our
okay.
style like
It's
you.
not
okay, Dean.
It's not okay.
It's pretty fucking far from okay.
It's like okay's in
I got
England
your back, Dean.
and you're in Australia.
See, to us over here, we don't know what that means either. It's like the same place.
Don't try to correct me in the chat, Dean. I'm not taking it tonight. God damn it. I've told you before, if I need a fucking lifelike representation of the personification of God, I will call you.
Really?
Otherwise,
I've seen him as Santa Claus.
whichever.
I'm not allowed to look at the chat, so I don't know what's going on there.
That's right. So you just fucking take your questions and shut your mouth.
All right, next.
Your next question comes from Gabby again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Bigfoot's penis glows, and why?
Well, I don't know. Wasn't it Matt that talked about the glowing Bigfoot penises?
It was Bob Dominguez.
Bob Dominguez, that's right. Well,
It was
they're the same
Chupacabra
person.
hunter
Really.
himself, Bobby D.
Bob Dominguez. If Bob Dominguez says Bigfoot has glowing penises, I will believe Bob Dominguez. So, yes.
I do believe that the explanation for the glowing Bigfoot penises by some Bigfoot researcher, that's how I'm going to tag this, was that certain mushrooms and or funguses have natural phosphorescence. And if Bigfoot was handling these things and then playing with said Bigfoot penis, he could possibly have a glowing Bigfoot penis.
I suppose you're right.
I don't know.
But I've come to realize that anything that Bob Dominguez has ever said, and by the way, I wasn't even on that show, so but anything that Bob Dominguez has ever said is 100% the truth. So if he says there's glowing Bigfoot penises, there are, and I believe it, and that's why.
He is the Chupacabra hunter.
That's right.
1 second.
What?
Just hi, Angie and Dean. Alma mater. It's still not funny.
It is funny.
All right, thank you. Your next
I get it now too.
Your next question, Steve.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You're such a jackass.
It was funny before I got it, but now that I got it, it's even
I
funny.
wanted to give this some semblance of like that you were some sort of amazing man of thought and foresight.
Oh,
but
I will.
It's
Wait a second,
Steve, it's gone off the rails. You're a piece of shit. We all know it. So let's just get back to the questions.
All right.
My next question
so good.
comes from KT Evans again. What do you think of the Chupacabra? Are they all just animals with mange?
Yes. Most of them.
I think we're all pretty much solid on that.
We've talked about
the problem with the chupacabra is that the first instance of the chupacabra happened in like Puerto Rico, and it was right after the person who saw said chupacabra had just seen the movie Species, because the chupacabra that was described looks exactly like the creature Syl in the movie Species. So
and
I
that
have a
person
big problem
ended
with
up, I believe, that person ended up, I believe, admitting to that, and so therefore, the legend of the chupacabra is basically a myth.
Okay.
So anything that we see nowadays doesn't look anything like what was described originally.
So
obviously, it's not a
So
chupacabra. It might be something else, though.
So Bob Dominguez is full of shit. He doesn't hunt chupacabras.
Yes, he does. He's hunting chupacabras because there might be a chupacabra. And if Bob Dominguez says there's a chupacabra, then I will believe him.
Okay.
There's no chupacabra.
You're not Bob Dominguez.
Your next question, oh great and powerful jackass, comes from Don Booch.
Again?
Yes, Don. I've told you, Don is an overachiever, and he should be treated as such. His question, Steve: how much wood would a Bigfoot chuck if a Bigfoot could chuck wood? I had a hard time with that one.
Let me rephrase this. How much wood would a Bigfoot chuck if a Bigfoot could chuck wood, right?
Yes, correct.
See how good I did that?
Should a Bigfoot chuck wood if a Bigfoot could chuck wood?
How much wood would that Bigfoot chuck? A Bigfoot could chuck about 2 cords a day.
Mystery solved. Steve's on it.
Well, scientifically, the size of the Bigfoot chucker would chuck 2 chucks of chuck. I don't know. 2 cords a day. That's my answer. Next.
You've heard it right from the amazing Steve's mouth.
Now they have proven how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. They have scientifically and mathematically proven that, but I don't think we actually have a scientific answer. But my guess is still going to be 2 cords.
Steve, your next question comes from Buck Nye, the Sasquatch guy again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Bigfoot guy. I'm sorry. Who's better looking, Buck Nye, the Bigfoot guy, or Bill Nye, the science guy?
Well, see, that's like comparing apples to oranges. You know,
Steve,
I do not like Bill Nye, the science guy. I can't stand the man. I just don't like him. So I'll have to go with Buck.
You heard it here first. Buck Nye, the Bigfoot guy, is better looking than Bill Nye, the science guy.
And that's just because I don't like Bill Nye, the science guy. I mean, Buck could be butt ugly, you know, and I'd still give that answer.
You'd still give him a reach around behind a tree in the forest?
I would not do that, but I would still say he's better looking than Bill Nye.
Okay.
I mean, Bill Nye's an annoying motherfucker.
Steve, to move this along, your next question comes from... Oh, I just hit my fucking microphone. God damn it. I have to scroll back up because the chat's getting a little active here. These people are like, conversing.
Nice. They're supposed to be asking me questions, not each other.
I know. But they're like a child. They don't...
See, I'm not in the chat room tonight. I
attention.
can't keep a monitor on that. And so this is what happens when I'm not in there.
Yeah. The question comes from Gabby again. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico?
No. Where's that?
No, Puerto Rico.
There was a girl in college who was Puerto Rican, and man, was she was hot.
Yeah.
And I sat next to her in chapel every day because I went to a Christian college, Evangel College in Springfield, Missouri. I went to, and I don't do that stuff anymore, church stuff, but I did back then. And man, was she was hot, but I never spoke to her until the last day of school. So
Just
that's as
smoking.
close as I've been to being in Puerto Rico.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
But you never
She
got
was
in,
hot, though.
motherfucker.
Her name was Sophie. If she's listening.
You couldn't seal the deal.
No, wait. Her name was Scarlett. Sorry, Sophie was French.
No, it's no. That's probably why you could never seal the deal, Steve. That right there.
Sophie was good looking. She was actually a foreign exchange student who
By
stayed
the way,
with my
by the way, Sophie, it was good having you in
future
chat.
wife.
Oh, my name was Scarlett.
Actually, you want to know, to be honest with you, that's pretty close to what I said to her the last day of school. It was nice sitting next to you in chapel every day. That was it. That's all I ever said to her the whole
You're the
fucking year.
man, you smooth motherfucker.
Did she turn to you and say, "Who are you?" Because that would have been just so fucking great.
No, she agreed, and had I gone back the next year, I probably would have dated her, but I didn't. So
Uh-huh.
I'm a college dropout.
All right. That's great to hear, Steve. Moving on, Steve. Your next question comes from Investigating Sasquatch.
Can we not give
Is he
that
trying to
wanker
steal that name?
any airtime?
Who is
listen, it's in the
Investigating
chat room.
Sasquatch?
No,
That
listen.
fucking cunt Redding.
Wait,
you know,
are you trying? Hey, Ryan, are you trying to steal Steve Call's name? Basically.
Of course he is. He's a fucking soulless, fake charity.
All right, I want to hear the
arsehole.
question. Come on, Ryan, let's go.
Does Bigfoot use structures and formations?
Only in people's minds, I think. It depends. I don't know. I have never seen a Bigfoot make a structure or formation, and neither has anybody else. So, and because if you have, we would have evidence of that, like on film or something, unless they're, orbs. Why would Bigfoot, if what we believe to be true about Bigfoot recently, why would Bigfoot need to make a structure if he can turn into whatever the fuck he wants? Right?
And a rock.
These questions need to be answered, Steve.
Maybe he is a structure. Maybe he can make himself into that. Maybe that's what you're seeing. I don't know. But no, I don't. I think if there is a Bigfoot, they would obviously need a place to stay. But what we see is evidence of stick structures are basically a couple sticks thrown together that don't provide any protection from the elements generally. So why on earth would they make that? It makes no sense. I know what people say, fucking, markers and bullshit like that, but come on. So no, I don't believe so.
Nope.
In that sense of the term. Well, there could be, but I don't think we've ever had real evidence of any of that. So
if you went out in the woods and found like a bunch of like stick structures in the woods, would you think you found the Bigfoot projects?
I can go out in even a very small patch of woods and find the same kind of stick structures that these people are showing as evidence of Bigfoot, and obviously there would be no Bigfoot there because it's just a small patch. You can drive by down the road and see the fucking.
That's the Blair Witch.
So no, I don't think what people are presenting as evidence of stick structures are anything to do with a bipedal being of some sort.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question comes from Will. Is it Rube or Rueb? I don't know. It's RUEB.
Will R.
Yeah, we'll call him Will R. Have you ever smelled a dust bunny's asshole?
See, now there's a good question. Finally.
Really hits them.
Aha! Did you hear that?
Wait
you
a
hear
minute,
that, cha-ching?
Steve,
I
that's
just sold.
a good question.
Listen.
No,
yes, I just
Steve.
sold a Michael Jackson "This Is It" tour jacket for $124. Thank you very much.
You're the man, Steve. How did I ever?
Dust Bunny.
Your amazing ability to not answer questions and pay attention.
I'm going to
eBay
answer that.
bullshit.
I am going to answer that question because it's a very important
Why
question
are you
to be
excited
answered.
about a question of smelling a dust bunny's asshole.
I'm not excited. I'm just glad that somebody asked a real question for a change. That's all.
Because
Okay.
he's Steve fucking Alcorn, that's why.
That's right. There is no rhyme or reason to what amuses me. My wife keeps the house very clean. We do not have dust bunnies, so the answer is no.
You weren't always married.
I don't recall a time that I wasn't, married.
It was like last year.
No, that was like it's ancient history. I don't remember anything before that time.
Right.
Are you ready for your next question, Steve?
Sure.
Your next question comes from Don Booch again. Steve, what is your biggest fear?
Water. Swimming. I don't like to swim.
Water.
I'm afraid to drown. I'm afraid of drowning.
Steve can't drink anything.
Not water in general. Big bodies of water.
Aquaphobia.
Whenever he takes a sip of his coffee, he's like, making the sign of the cross. It's like, oh, Jesus, please let me make it through this next sip of coffee.
Every time he hears the liquid in his stomach sloshing, he screams.
The big bodies of water. I don't swim. I won't. I don't want to go out on a boat because it might sink. That kind of thing. And I don't like heights either. But so I'm landlocked, pretty much.
Steve, your next question comes from Gabby. Do you have any flavor on your flavor saver? And I think she's referring to, do you have any of Mrs. Alcorn?
Well, that would be between me and her, and you wouldn't get that answer. So
I thought everything was on the table tonight, Steve.
Yeah, you did agree.
Well, yeah, but we're not supposed to, that there is one off limits subject, and that is it.
I'm going to answer the question for Steve. Of course, there's fucking some of that on his fucking goddamn stash. Jesus Christ. If Steve doesn't eat box, I'd kick him.
Sure, just kick him.
All right.
Next.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with this shit, Steve.
There's that many questions coming in?
Well, it's the chat kind of goes and okay. All right, here we go.
By the way, I paid $5 at a yard sale for that Michael Jackson coat.
Your next question, Steve, comes from Gabby again. What do you think about the trees that are upside down?
They're upside down trees. I don't know. A lot of I don't know. I haven't done any investigating on that. I just know that there's, what is it in Alaska? There's legends of it. I guess I've seen pictures of it. I know loggers will put a tree upside down sometimes to mark a spot. I don't know.
Aliens.
Yeah. Okay. Aliens.
If you're just joining us, it is later in the show. We have opened up the floor for questions in the chat room for the amazing Steve tonight.
I'm not answering them very well. But
We will be shutting this down shortly. So if you have any pressing questions for the amazing Steve, please feel free to ask away before the show ends. The next question, Steve, comes from Dean Cooper. Or as we know him, DB Cooper.
Ooh.
Steve, based on the idea that Bigfoot makes stick structures, do you think that he is trying?
Answered that.
Will you let me ask the question?
Start over. Okay.
Steve, based on the idea that Bigfoot makes stick structures, do you think that he is trying to foretell the future using the I King or Ching? I don't know how you pronounce that one.
So how am I supposed to answer the question if you can't read it
It's
properly?
the Chinese thing there where they foretell the future with the fucking little lines.
Yes. Yes.
That's what Bigfoot's doing?
That is exactly what he's doing.
Is that your final answer, Steve?
That is
Do you
my
want to phone
final
a
answer.
friend?
Nope.
Okay. So, Dean, the answer to your question is yes. Bigfoot is trying to foretell the future with stick structures.
Well, he has foretold the future. Way back in the dinosaur days when they first came to this planet, they spoke of a great man who would appear and help them save their species. So that's what all the stick structures. I bet you we won't see any more stick structures from now on because it's been foretold and the prophecy has come true.
With a magnet. He saved them with a magnet.
Steve, we're going to wrap this up
I'm
pretty
listening.
soon, but we got a couple more questions
Okay.
for you.
All right.
This question comes from Johnny Smith.
Oh, come on. That's a fake name.
It's the best question, Steve.
It's a fake. It's a fake person.
The amazing
Johnny Smith. Come on.
Listen, will you shut the fuck up and let me ask the question? Thank you. The amazing Steve, Matthew Johnson, or Rick Dyer?
What direction am I going with this question? I mean,
I don't know.
who's the biggest?
Matthew Johnson or Rick Dyer.
Which one would you let?
Who's the biggest fucking idiot of all time?
Which one would you let blow you in a rest area? I don't know. Just fucking answer the question.
Oh God, I don't know. Rick Dyer.
Rick
Rick Dyer is at least on occasion honest about what he's all about.
On occasion.
Matthew Johnson is not.
Never.
So if I had to go out and drink a beer with one of those two guys, it would be Dyer.
Oh yeah, he seems fun.
Definitely Dyer, huh?
If I had to seek psychiatric help, I'd still go to Dyer. Just saying.
But he thinks you're a weasel.
Now
Well, I am.
Weasels.
Steve, your next question. As we're wrapping up the show here, we'll take another one after this one. But, comes from Don Booch again. Steve, I can't find my car keys. Do you know where I should look?
The last place you left them. The last place you remember. And in fact, when you lose something, how come it's always in the last place you look when you find it?
Because that's when you
The
find it,
last
Steve.
place you look.
Huh. I've always wondered that. Now you guys have answered it for me.
It's
Did you
amazing,
try
isn't
to
it?
make a joke?
No.
Is that what happened there? Was that a Steve joke?
Maybe.
It was Steve.
Maybe a
trying to be, it was Steve trying to be witty. And your last question of the night, Steve, before we wrap this wonderful back and forth between us, or more to the point, you, and the chat room, is have you ever had a out of body experience? And this question comes from Manta Ray of Hope, 23.
What happened to the previous 22?
I don't know.
I just
lost hope.
no hope. Out of body experience? Yes. But I think it was more of a
You had an orgasm?
No, I think it was more of a waking. What do they call that? A waking dream or something, where you're kind of semi-conscious, but you're still in a dream state. But you feel like you.
It's called mescaline.
Yeah. No, lucid dreaming is something totally different.
No, lucid dreaming is where you're aware you're still asleep.
Okay, so that would be as close as I've ever gotten. But you kind of feel like you can see what you're doing. You know, you can see yourself in the bed, or you feel like you're floating above, or something like that. But it's always in it would always be at night. So it is probably a scientific thing. I don't know.
I'll answer the question. I've had an out-of-body experience. It was called mushrooms.
Oh, is that where we were going? No, I've never done any of that shit.
No, that's not where you were going. That's where I went.
No, that's where you always go.
And he never came back.
That's right. And as I mentioned before on a previous show, I do believe, did I? That Joe Rogan had Mick West?
He did.
I think you said something about it.
And I think we should be able to get Mick. I think you should fucking hound Metabunk. I want Mick West on this show.
I think if anybody can do it, I think Richard can.
I want to talk the bullshit that is the Bigfoot paranormal UFO alien world with Mick West, Metabunk, expert. Dude's the shit. And I think you should do it, Richard. He sounds like he's got an English accent. Doesn't he come from your neck of the woods?
I tried to get in touch with him, but he won't respond to my messages.
Your reputation precedes you, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. So I mean, you're an admitted troll.
I am a complete troll. Fuck you all.
But you've given up on your blog, Richard.
I'm still sort of blogging, but I'm doing the comic strip now. So.
He's become a world-renowned cartoonist. You know, like Charles Schultz or something.
The deranged fan that became a blogger. The blogger that became a comic strip artist. They should make a movie about me.
His story as he changed through his life. One man, Richard Allen, fucks
I think
over
we
the
should
Bigfoot world and decides to make the funnies.
I think we should focus the show on me every week now.
You gotta get that Peter Gabriel music from Salisbury Hill. Dun, 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 dun,
I like the way you sing. This is good. I don't accept friend requests anymore because I get too many fake accounts.
Oh.
Sorry.
I stopped accepting Bigfoot. I stopped accepting friend requests from people in the Bigfoot community.
Climbing up
this
on
week.
Salisbury Hill.
No more.
I can see the city lights.
The city lights. I also want Def Leppard as well.
What's that?
I want Def Leppard and Blink-182 songs as well.
I thought the show was about me.
Well, thanks for that, Richard.
You're doing the Peter Gabriel thing. I'm just voicing my opinion.
I'm trying to explain how Richard became a heartfelt, emotional man after being a troll, and
that never happened.
The role will be played by Tom Hardy.
No, it will not.
Oh, absolutely, and it'll be a Fortean Slip production. Richard Allen's turnaround.
But I haven't turned around.
Okay.
We think you have.
I think you're turning over a new leaf. Richard, somebody wants to know where they can find your comic strips.
I post them in a
Barnes and Noble.
And in a coalition.
Well, this was fun, fellas. I'm so glad that I decided to do this.
Well, we got
Why don't you
from the fans. Thanks, fans.
Why don't you post your comic strips on your blog? Wouldn't that be like the more appropriate place?
It would be less annoying if I did that.
Okay. Fair enough.
And last but not least, I guess Stargazer has a very, very important question.
All right.
Are you high, Chris? And the response is yes. This has been episode 148 of the Fortean Slip. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. If you're in this fucking goddamn chat room, leave a comment. For fuck's sake. You all got YouTube accounts. Leave a comment on the damn video. Subscribe. Check out the forteanslip.com, the forteanslip.blogspot.com. Check out Richard's blog, which he's kind of doing. The link is below the video as we speak. Check out Dred Funn at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. And check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads.
Alma mater.
You feel better about yourself?
I hate you so much.
I love that.
And Steve,
Great.
to close out the show,
Yeah.
I'm gonna close out the show for you.
All right.
Swamp Girl asks, Steve, what do you know about Dogman, and is Richard one? Take it away, Steve.
I don't know anything about Dogman, but I believe Richard is one.
Yes, because as we know, all Brits live very close to London, and there is an American werewolf in London.
You've said too
Proud of
much.
yourself. You're proud of yourself for making that joke, Chris.
Not only am I proud of myself, I'm going to have a private little chuckle after I shut the show down.
Shut her down.
How you like me now, Richard?
Yeah, cool.
It was no alma mater, but whatever.
Go fuck yourself. We will try to be back next week with another show for you folks. Hope you enjoyed this little back and forth with our good friend Steve.